Alright, so since you guys seem to have enjoyed my last article review quite extensively, I figured why not get back into another article regarding the monster taming genre that has a lot of questionable content within it. Now, this was actually brought forth to my attention by someone named 1234 on Twitter, so thank you for that. Nice Twitter handle. Anyway, this one is called Best Pokemon Likes on Nintendo Switch. Games to play after you finished Pokemon. And the reason I'm covering this isn't because it's like, oh, they're calling things Pokemon-like, because I don't have an issue with calling something Pokemon-like. I think it's inaccurate in certain contexts, like calling, I don't know, Cerealum a Pokemon-like game would be inaccurate. Calling Nexomon a Pokemon-like, though, that's accurate. Anyways, we're going to be reading through this because there is some questionable statements being said here. And again, this is just sort of to raise awareness to what some of the games journalists within the genre are like how they're perpetuating like certain ideas about the monster taming genre that are just incorrect and could inadvertently feed into this whole like Pokemon clone narrative, even if they're just using Pokemon like, and I'll explain why. So let's just read through it. When they say Pokemon gotta catch them all, we all assume they meant catching all the pocket monsters, but actually what they were talking about was catching all of the Pokemon and Pokemon-like games out there, of which there are many. And now, at last, we've caught them all and wrangled them into this very article. So they definitely don't have them all. There's not even close to all the monster taming games, but we'll let that one slide. If you are the kind of person who hates waiting for the next Pokemon game, even if they're currently arriving at a rate of 2 or 3 a year, when these games, then these games you should keep your eye on and train up Mashu. What are they even going on about? Then these are the games to keep your eyes on: the Pokeball to train up your mashing fingers and to tide you over until the next Pokemon thing and different Pokemon thing. Okay, cool. Anyways, let's just get into this. So now let's make a whale lord and dive right in. Note, yes, we know Temtem's on Switch. We're working on a review right now, and we'll be adding it to this list in due time if it's up to snuff, of course. All right, let's see. Coromon. So this is where we get into the fun stuff. It's Pokemon, but so that's what they're gonna say for all of them. It's Pokemon, but, and we're gonna get into why things aren't just Pokemon, but let's see what they have to say. It's Pokemon, but with built-in Nuzlocke modes and simpler type matching. I mean, fair enough. Like, there's other things that go into Coromon, but like, I'm not too mad about them saying it's like Pokemon, but whatever. If imitation is the highest form of flattery, then Coromon is the greatest love letter ever written. It makes no secret that it's been inspired by classic Pokemon titles, particularly those from the Game Boy Advance era. It stops just sort of being a direct imitation of those games, but was clearly created to cater to fans who love these generations and have been craving more of them. So I do appreciate that they said it's not just an imitation, because again, there's no gyms in Coromon. Like, I'd honestly say Temtem is closer to Pokemon than Coromon is. So at least they didn't say it's a straight up clone. Digimon Survive. So it's Pokemon, but it's a visual novel. No, it's nothing like Pokemon. The combats, even the non-visual novel-esque aspects of Digimon Survive are nothing like Pokemon. Also, apologize for my voice. I'm still sick. Anyways, it's nothing like Pokemon. The combat's tactical. It's absolutely nothing like Pokemon. It's Digimon. It's nothing like any monster taming game we've honestly seen. So I don't know. I wouldn't call it Pokemon at all. Digimon Survive is one of the best visual novels of 2022, with plenty of heart and tension to carry you through the final act. Fans looking for an engaging story with well-written and presented characters that deal with life and death situations will enjoy the ride, while players focused on combat will probably find that the game comes short. That's fair. That's fair. It's certainly not a traditional Poke-like, because it's not a Pokemon-like. It's a monster taming game, but it's not a Pokemon-like. But if you want more time to hang out with your animal buddies rather than fighting, you'll find it here. Monster Crown. It's Pokemon, but with contracts. So I don't know why they thought contracts was like the big thing that made Monster Crown different. Like, if I were writing this article and I had to use the it's Pokemon, but, I'd say with fusion, right? Because fusion's like the main thing. Are crossbreeding, whatever. So Monster Crown is set in a world of Crown Island where humans and monsters don't live together in harmony as they do in begrudging acceptance. Catching monsters is as simple as offering them a pact, which they then read mid-battle and either reject or accept based on factors like level and health. It's also designed to look a bit like an 8-bit Game Boy Color game if you're into that. So it's just odd. Like, Monster Crown's main thing is not the fact that it uses different types of Pokeballs, basically. Like, the game has fusion, the game has crossbreeding, the game's open world, the game's got a darker tone. They missed all of that and just focused on the capture mechanic, which I think is really weird. It's almost like they played for like 5 minutes and they're like, all right, we got this. Nexomon Extinction. This one is why I decided to make this article, okay? It's Pokemon, but with more complex battles and non-linear exploration. You're right about that second part. You are absolutely wrong about the first part, though. Nexomon Extinction wears its influences unapologetically on its sleeve. You're a kid who becomes a Nexomon tamer, not trainer. That's a different word, see? Again, Nexomon is less like Pokemon than Temtem, so I don't know why they're acting like this is so similar. You must travel the land going from town to town while taming more Nexomon, and of course eventually saving the world. It's the same idea, same formula, and even has the same battle UI. It's a fair bit harder than Pokemon when it comes to battles, which can be both a blessing and a curse as the difficulty spikes a fair bit. It's ruddy gorgeous, though. So, okay, it's not harder than Pokemon because it's more complex. It's just the levels are scaled more. Like the levels are more higher. Nexomon Extinction, I love it. It is not as complex as Pokemon whatsoever. They have cores, which is cool, right? But most of the cores don't have any like unique effects. So held items, even though you can only equip 1, whereas you can equip 4 to your Nexomon, held items provide much more battle complexity than something like cores. The Nexomon don't have abilities. Nexomon don't have special stats. Nexomon is not more complex than Pokemon by any means. In fact, Nexomon's less complex than Coromon, and Coromon, they even stated, was like a simpler battle system than Pokemon. So I don't know why they came to that conclusion. Maybe they should watch more Gym Leader Ed videos. Digimon Story CyberSleuth. It's Pokemon, but it's Digimon. Like, okay, like, it's got that similar Pokemon formula, but I'd even say calling it a Pokemon, not necessarily Pokemon formula, but like it's like a turn-based monster taming RPG. Like I would be a little hard pressed to call it a Pokemon-like, but like I wouldn't get mad at someone for calling it a Pokemon-like, but just saying the only difference is Digimon is also misleading. Come on, you know the deal with Digimon, they could talk and devolve unlike their simpler, stupider Poke equivalents. Evolution is more complicated as a result, and most battles are 3v3 rather than 1v1. Unlike Digimon games on this list, CyberSleuth is more of what you'd expect from a Pokemon-like, although it's still leaning towards the visual novel side of things with long cutscenes of dialogue. There's also a fair bit of grinding, but if you are a Poke enjoyer, then that won't stop you, will it? Nino Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. It's Pokemon, but with much better writing and visual. This is not a Pokemon-like. It has, like, real-time combat. Like, I don't even know why it's even on here. Level 5 bewitching fairy tale masterpiece of a JRPG is a playable Studio Ghibli movie. Their trademark localization makes the writing come to life, and the fantastic choice to use regional British accents for the characters make Ni no Kuni unlike any other game out there. The Poke part of Ni no Kuni is that you can catch and train familiars, which are creatures with incredibly precise and weird names that range from charming to terrifying. They'll fight on your behalf, and you can evolve metamorphose them into powerful beasties too. So it has evolution, but other than that, it's like not similar to Pokemon at all. Ooblets. Now I haven't played Ooblets, but it's more like Animal Crossing and like Stardew Valley than it is like Pokemon, other than the fact that there's monsters. But let's see what they have to say. It's Pokemon, but there's no fighting. Ooblets, which came out recently after a long time in early access, is a quirky creature collecting life sim set in a rundown town. But this game offers more than just creature collecting. Between farming, making friends, and busting a move, players are responsible for restoring life to Badge Town and its surrounding areas through the power of Oobnet. Yes, Ooblets are rough analogs to Pokemon in that you collect them and they follow you, but matters are settled with dance battles, and your weird and wonderful monsters can be used to help farm, help, and companions too. Way more useful than Pokemon ever were. Yeah, it's just not Pokemon at all. Slime Rancher Portable Edition. I believe Slime Rancher 2 actually recently came out. It's Pokemon, but with capitalism and slimes. Pokemon, besides having free healthcare, is that not capitalism? Like, they make you pay for stuff. Like, you still have to buy stuff from the shop. The only, like, if the Pokemon world isn't capitalist and Canada's not capitalist, like, what? It's all about collecting various types of slime, not companionship or fighting, but for sweet, sweet cash, sort of. The slimes are excrete something called plorts, which can be used to sell for extra money, which can be used to get more slimes and build enclosures for new types, which give you different plorts and so on. We're not doing it justice. Okay, I've never played it, so I can't really say much, but that sounds nothing like Pokemon. They have a page 2. I wasn't expecting a page 2. Monster Sanctuary, not a Pokemon-like. Oh, we got one up here. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, everybody. I've never heard of this game. We'll skip over it. Monster Sanctuary is not a Pokemon-like. It's Pokemon, but a Metroidvania. No, it's not. It's a Metroidvania with 3-on-3 turn-based combat that's completely different, based on a combo mechanic. I don't know why they're saying it's like Pokemon at all. It's not. Shin Megami Tensei 5. If you do like Pokemon, you should give this a shot, but it's not a Pokemon replacement. SMT5 isn't a Pokemon game, you cry. It's all about making demons fight. Well, yes. Also, that's just a grittier Pokemon, isn't it? No! No, it's not. Because, number one, you fight with the demons. Number two, the combat's a push action system, completely different from Pokemon. Number three, the entire, theming and story of the game is different. And number four, that Shin Megami Tensei predates Pokemon, or at least Megami Tensei does, which is what the Shin Megami Tensei franchise turned into. Excuse me? Excuse me? And they don't mention that, of course, because none of these games journalists know that. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. You're a rider, part of a group. It's Pokemon, but dragons. Pokemon has dragons, so that's stupid. A group of rather charming folk who opt to raise, befriend, and team up with monsters rather than hunt them. Yes, a bit like Pokemon to a degree, with questionable practice of stealing eggs from nests, but let's not get deep into that. But as playthrough develops, staggering depth to setup, each monster has a preferred type. Okay, yes, we know, but again, it's not Pokemon at all. It's not even like Pokemon. You can build your own character on top of having a monster partner, and the combat's completely different. Toyim, I've never heard of this game. It's Pokemon Snap, but black and white. Okay, so it's Pokemon because you take pictures. Okay. Bug Snacks, I've heard of this game. I've never played it, though. Assimilating a bunch of snack-type animals. Interesting. Might be something to look into, actually. But that's it. That's the whole article. So, my problem, I want to say one thing. If Kate Gray is watching, the author, I appreciate not using the term Pokemon clone. That's you already get a better grade than everybody else that says Pokemon clone. You're already above that. But Pokemon-like is a good, way to define something that's like Pokemon. So, Pokemon-like games, I can list some of them off. You got Coromon. Oh, sorry, I just hit something. You got Coromon, you got Nexomon, you got, you could stretch it and say Monster Sanctuary, but I'd say Monster Sanctuary is, at the far edges of being a Pokemon-like, because it has, or sorry, not Monster Sanctuary, Monster Crown. It's at the far edges of being a Pokemon-like, just because it's, pretty different. But, if someone uses, Monster Crown, or even Digimon CyberSleuth, I would forgive it. I'd say they're a bit out there, but, whatever. But when it comes to games like Shin Megami Tensei 5, Monster Sanctuary, Monster Hunter Stories 2, I've never played this Bug Snack, so I can't really say anything about that. But when it comes to games like that, Digimon Survive, they're not Pokemon-like games. Monster Taming is the name of the genre. So there's monster taming games, then there's, within monster taming, there's Pokemon-likes, which I mentioned, Nexomon, Coromon, etc. That's just a subsection of monster taming. Monster taming is the big umbrella. That includes everything where you tame monsters. That includes Digimon games. That includes Pokemon games. That includes Nexomon games. That includes, I don't know, it could include, even far out there stuff like Patch Quest. It includes games that you utilize monsters. Doesn't have to be turn-based, doesn't have to be real-time, doesn't have to be any specific thing. It's just you tame monsters, or you raise monsters, or you collect monsters. That's the monster taming umbrella. Within it, you have Pokemon-likes, which is a subsect of monster taming. So Digimon Survive is a monster taming game, but it's not a Pokemon-like game. Those are not synonymous with each other. But yeah, so this article did annoy me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Especially with the Monster Crown thing, but with contracts. There's a lot more depth to Monster Crown than that. And then the complex battles. So there's a lot of inconsistencies here. So, I mean, I give this article like a C. it would get a D if it used the term Pokemon clone, but I'll give it a C. Because it does still introduce people to... I'll give it a C+. Because it still does introduce people to new monster taming experiences without basically calling them shit. But it also does get a few things wrong. and miscategorizes Pokemon likes. So monster taming is the term for non-Pokemon like games. I hope more people will start using those terms. And yeah, I'm gonna start giving these articles grades. This one gets a C+, because again, it's not disparaging to the genre, but it's also inaccurate in a few spots. So I can't give it a better grade than a C. So anyways, guys, if you did enjoy the article, if you got more articles for me, my Discord server, I have a video ideas section. You could submit any video ideas, but submit your articles there. This one was tagged to me on Twitter. I'll probably see your Twitter thing if you tag me, but not always, because sometimes I get a lot of notifications. So Discord's the best place to be. That's linked below. If you like monster taming content, definitely subscribe to the channel. You can check out my Twitter, my Discord, and my Patreon linked below. Special thanks to the patrons, especially Jim Hamilton, Drogos, Dark Persona, and Exodus, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.